Hi, everyone. This is Jay Rosenzweig, the founder and CEO of BirthParentFinder.com. And today I have with me Lakita Green, who is one of our recipients of our Mother's Day giveaway. Hi, Lakita. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. And again, congratulations on being one of our recipients. And to let everyone know, we took your case. You gave a very compelling story, and you provided a video for us about your search. And again, we took your story and we went with it, and we found your birth mother, and you were reunited with her in person yesterday. So just jump right into it and tell me what that was like after all this time meeting her.
Um, I'm still going through the emotions. Um, I have no one word for what I'm feeling. Um, I, between yesterday when I left her and today, I'm still in shock, and awe, kind of sort of disbelief. You know, she as well was in shock, and I didn't know if she thought maybe it was a prank or something, but she asked me, what's your full name, which I thought was hilarious. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, what's your full name? And I said my full name, and she's like, oh my god, it's really you. So um yeah, I'm still, I cried, obviously. I cried again last night. I cried again this morning at my desk at work. Um, it's a lot.
And you've been on this journey a very long time. And how did you find out about my company?
So, a friend, a friend's of a friend, a friend's, my cousin's best friend's sister, put it like that. I know her as well. Who I have to reach out after this. I couldn't thank her prior because then she would know that, you know, I woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning, like I normally do, getting ready for work. And I had a message from her on my Instagram. And she was telling me, hey, her saying her sister told her about my book that I had written, documenting my search and my memoir about growing up without my mom. And she goes, this birth parent finder, they helped a lot of other celebrities. And she sent me the video of you and Evelyn Lozada, and they're doing a contest. And I immediately looked at it. 6 in the morning. I looked. I applied right then and there, and we went from there.
Did you ever think this would happen, that you would receive this gift for Mother's Day and it would end this way?
I did not. Like you said, this journey has been long. Um, I enter contests all the time. Never a contest, or any sort of thing with a search, where winning something is like this. I play scratch offs, I play, everything else. I never thought in a million years that the contest that I would ever win would be getting a free search to help locate my mother.
So we had about 50 people contact us, and certain ones stand out. Obviously, we can't take cases that are not solvable. People didn't take DNA tests. But regarding your search for your birth mother, you had her name, you had her birth date, you had enough information for us to find her. Now, we located her pretty quickly, but the problem was she was in the system in New York and did not have an address in our database. So we reached out to this organization that basically, I don't know how you would explain it. It's kind of like a social services organization.
Yeah.
And I gave you their number to contact because of there's certain HIPAA laws that are involved. You contacted them. What did they tell you?
So obviously it was, I'm very familiar with HIPAA. So, it was a lot of HIPAA related roadblocks. Um, The first organization, which I never even heard of, and I've been in New York all my life, I googled it, I read up on it, and I started making calls. um, the first person, of course, everyone, when I tell the story, they're shocked. And then I said, hey, I'm looking for my mom. I don't know if she's deceased or not, but I was led to get some information that she's possibly with your organization. um, I didn't let her hang up. I kept saying, look, ma'am, I'm not asking you to break any HIPAA laws. I just want to know if you can at least tell me what street she's on. I'll go hang out on that block. Um, she gave me a bunch of emails. I emailed all, I'm sending out emails. I called back the following day to see if they got my emails. And she, at that time, went and got a supervisor. She told her supervisor the story. And I'm on speaker the whole time. I hear her. The supervisor in turn says, okay, let me see what I can do. The supervisor comes on the line and advises that my mother was with their facility, but she signs herself out in November of 2021. So at that time, I'm freaking out. I'm like, 2021, not too long ago, she was right there. In July of 2021, I was just driving around the Bronx thinking I had an address. Um, the woman told me, I said, well, where did she go? The woman told me that she was with HRA. And I'm like, okay, HRA where? Or HRA, she says, we can't help you with that. She's with the Department of Social Security. You have to call HRA, a whole bunch of bureaucracy and what have you. So I started doing what I did in the beginning of my book. If you read my book, you'll see that's what I was doing: emailing, phone calling, um, a lot of hangups, a lot of sorry due to HIPAA. We can't help you. And I finally just got one person on the line. In these circumstances, it's usually a lot of who you get on the phone. It's usually who has a heart, who has maybe who can be empathetic to the situation. I did get someone on the line. He was shocked again and amazed, and he told me, "I've been here for 16 years with this company, and I never heard a story like this ever before." Um, he said, obviously we can't violate HIPAA, but I can tell you your mother is alive and well. We just saw her last month. And I just started crying while I was on the phone with him.
And of course, they couldn't provide you any other information, right?
No, he told me that uh, he had to go and speak to his supervisor, his superiors. He didn't even know what to do in this sort of circumstances. They were aware that she had children. She had mentioned that, she had 3 children, but, who knows, I guess they didn't believe her, or they just figured, I
So I
don't.
know this happened over a weekend, and then I know you were anxious, very anxious. So I go through all my databases. And we have numbers for people. They're probably no good. You call them, they're disconnected. People don't answer. You don't know if they have the right number. So I found this one cell phone number and I called it. Woman answered the phone and I said, "Hi, I'm trying to reach Ann." And she goes, "This is Ann." And I'm taken back, and I realized I have your mother on the phone. And I confirmed it was her, and she's asking me the same question she asked you. I had all this information in front of me, and then she was blown away completely. And I knew it was the right person because she had information that you provided to me, and I realized this is your mother. And we got you on the phone later on. We had a three-way conversation, and you met her a couple days later. It was beautiful. Um, and it could not have worked out any better. But before we get into your meeting with her, can you quickly tell the story of how she left you all those years, and basically about your book, just briefly?
So I was about 6 years old, and sorry, my puppy. I was about 6 years old, and the last thing I remember is her saying she was going to the store. Um, I believe it was pizza or something. She said she was going to get, and she never returned. The neighbor, who I believe was her friend, checked in on us daily. But I guess she was my mother's friend, so obviously she didn't want to involve the authorities. We were left home alone for a couple of days, and eventually the authorities were contacted and we were placed in care. Um, we were in foster care for a while, and some ways down the line, I advised that I had my grandmother's phone number, and if someone can reach out to my grandmother, who uh, I told them is my father's mother. They contacted my grandmother. She came to get us and uh, raised me and my siblings from that point on. Um, I had never not seen or heard from my mother until maybe 10 or 11 so years later. She just popped up out of nowhere. Um, she stuck around for about 48 hours. At that time, I was not in the space that I'm in now. I was obviously younger. I was still angry. Um, I was still, my mind was still abandonment. You abandoned me. I hate you. I don't, so I want nothing to do with her. She disappeared again for 40 after 48 hours. And here we are 20 something years later. And it was during COVID, where, I mean, I've always been doing little searches, put her name in social media, see if anything comes up. I've looked at Ancestry and things like that. But most of those things, want you to pay monthly. And I just didn't understand why I'm paying monthly to look for someone who probably didn't want to be found. I started documenting my search with looking for her. I didn't get my mother's birthday until um, last year, actually, or 2021. I was able to get her birthday. All these years, I never even knew her birthday. So that was, always a roadblock as well. I wrote this book called Seeking Closure, and I just documented, you know, as a woman, as a girl growing and evolving into a woman, how it is growing up without a mother figure. I'm not so much a mother figure because my grandmother was my mother figure, but that was my grandmother. I never had that mother daughter bond. I never had that mother daughter connection. I never had anyone to call mom. Um, this is going to be the first Mother's Day that I can ever remember where I can actually pick up the phone and call the person who gave birth to me and say Happy Mother's Day, actually, to my real mother. So I wrote the book, Seeking Closure. Mm, I started putting the book out. I've actually, I'm emailing, I'm sending text messages to different news media outlets. Not so much as trying to get noticed, but also trying to see if I can use their platform to also help search for my mother, not just promote my book, obviously promote my book as well, but also to, at this point, I have a 17-year-old son who's graduating high school. He's going to go on to have his own family. My siblings have children. You know, she's a great grandmother and doesn't even and had no idea. So at that point, it was just once I realized that I was no longer angry, I reached that point where I said, I'm not angry. I don't hate her. I just now at this point, I wanted closure. I want to know she's deceased. I want to know she's alive. And I want answers. I would like to know what happened. Like, how do you just wake up one day and leave 3 children in a Bronx apartment and never come back?
Right. So when you met up with her the other day, did she explain to you what happened?
She did. She told me that she went to the store and she said that she was attacked. She said that on her way back from the store, she was attacked. And the story was a little bit all over the place. There was a lot going on that day, so I can't remember everything to the T. But she said that she was attacked. Um, she ended up in a hospital. I don't know if she tried to fight the attackers off. I mean, we're talking the Bronx in the 80s, so it's possible. Um, she said that after a while, I guess in the hospital, she notified them of her children, or she came back to the apartment. By the time she came back to the apartment, we were gone. And at that point, I asked her, I said, well, did you know where we were? And she says, yeah, I found out that you guys were with your grandmother, that you remembered your grandmother's number, and they ACS called your grandmother. I asked her, well, why didn't you come and get us from her at that time? And her response was that it was already an ACS issue, that we were already in the care of ACS. And I guess she figured the way her life was going at that time, that it was just best to just leave us with my grandmother and not go through the process with ACS to get her children back.
And during that period, before she saw you again, I guess you were maybe 20 then when we saw her again.
No, I was about 17, 16, 17.
So between the ages of you were 6 years old when she left, and then 17, that's like 11 years. What was she doing during that time?
She said that she was, in the streets. Um, Obviously, there was drugs. Um, she said that she's just been through a lot. She said that at one point she was homeless. Um, she just, she obviously didn't want to, I guess, get into too much at that moment, because she was asking me a bunch of questions about my siblings as well. She said, I never stopped thinking about you guys. She did say at one point that she attempted to look for us too, but she didn't know how. Um, she said that she didn't know where to turn to, who to ask, or what to do, or what have you. I started to, you know, ask, well, why didn't you come back to where you popped up to in Jamaica, Queens, in Baisley? Why didn't you come back there like you did, years prior? But like I said, at this point, um, I don't want to seem confrontational. I don't want to seem like I'm angry. I'm just happy that I found her, and she seems healthy. She's safe. Um, she seems like she's in a good place in her life at the moment. But she did say that, she has been through a lot, especially not knowing where her children were as well.
Right. And then when you were 17, how did she find you at that point?
I have no idea, but she knew. So that was the area where my grandmother lived. That's where my family's from. So I guess she just knew, if anything, to come back there, which she could have done in these past years. But again, if she's on the streets, if there's mental issue, or if there was drugs involved, or whatever it was that was going on through her mind, or whatever it was that she was dealing with um, in those years, I really don't know what it was.
And you obviously spent a good hour or two with her the
I
other day. Is that correct?
yeah, I spent about almost an hour, maybe 45 minutes.
And this was at her place in the Bronx.
Yes, I met her outside. I had no idea who she was. I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know what she looked like.
So
She's
where did you leave it at that point? Like moving forward, what is the plan with Anne?
um well, at this present moment, no one knows in my family that I even met with her. No one knows I found her. Um, my siblings, I am actually meeting up with them tomorrow to tell them. Um, I'm just going to get her on the phone. Um, I have actually, I spoke to her last night when I got home. Um, I spoke to her again today. Um, and she wants to speak to them. She's like, where's your siblings? Where's your siblings? And I want to speak to them. I want to speak to them. So she's just excited as well. Um, I'm not sure where, I can't tell you we're going to go have Sunday dinner on Mother's Day or whatever. But just knowing that I can pick up the phone right now um, and just dial her, and, you know, I'm not calling her mom right now. I'm actually not even, I'm not calling her anything. I'm just saying hello. It's very, it's very weird. But, I think that I called last night just to make sure it was real. When I got home, I called. She said, oh, call me and let me know you got home safe, which, I thought was cute. But, I actually called and she didn't pick up. Um, I'm 44 years old now, but I turned into a whole little girl last night when she didn't answer.
And she doesn't answer text messages either.
She doesn't answer text. She doesn't really know how to work the phone. But, she didn't answer. I called twice last night and just to say I'm home. She didn't pick up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I automatically got nervous. I automatically just assumed she's gone again. I don't know if that's a natural feeling that I'm going to have right now if she doesn't answer. I don't know if that's normal or not. But when she did call me back, I was I was kind of relieved. I was excited, as well as today.
So Lakita, you wrote this book called Seeking Closure,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously the book wasn't complete for your closure. But you're obviously getting at the point of closure. So where does the book take you at this point?
Well, obviously, I assumed that when I found her, it was just going to be, now maybe it's like part two kind of like wrote itself within the last 2 weeks, closure. But during my conversations with her yesterday, you know, if people read my book, they'll see that I did have some unanswered questions. And, I had a lot of things I wanted to talk to her about. And, some of those things, which I'm not going to speak about here, but some of those things me and her spoke about and were revealed. So that's like a whole nother animal now that I, have to deal with. A whole nother, it's kind of like I'm still seeking closure, but I'm not seeking closure in the sense of and where Anne Green is involved. Um, I don't know what's gonna happen because she still has to meet my siblings. Tomorrow I just plan on getting her on the phone for them. And then at some point this weekend, I plan on getting my grandmother and my aunts. If they're supposed to be in Queens, I plan on just surprising everyone, which Anne is already aware of because I told her this is what I want to do. Like I said, my grandmother's 87 years old. My grandmother, took on the task of raising 3 young children, 6 and under. when she was already, thought she was done raising her children. Um, it would be nice to get her on the phone to at least thank my grandmother. Maybe this will be a different Mother's Day for everybody involved.
Maybe a better question for you is, are you in a better place in this journey than you were 2 weeks ago?
Um, of course, I'm definitely in a better place. I'm in a better place than I was 2 weeks ago. Like I said, I literally just saw her less than 24 hours ago. So I'm still in a am I dreaming place. Um, yes, I'm in a better place that I can't even explain the feeling that it's like a weight has been lifted. It's like you feel lighter. It's like questions were answered. Um, whether it's true or not, the story that she said when she left, that's the story that she gave me. That's the story that it is. Um,
And you won't take that any further. You're let that be, correct?
she she was attacked. She came back. She didn't. At this point, prying and saying, it's not true, it's getting us nowhere. I wanted closure. I just wanted to be able to say I have a mother. Obviously, I had a mother because someone brought me into this world, but I have a mother who I know exactly where she is now. I have a mother that I can pick up the phone and say, oh, hey, you're okay, regardless to what she is or what she's done. She's my mother, and I'm
And
happy with that.
that's understandable, 100%. So again, I'm glad I was able to help you. You are obviously getting the answers you need, and this has been a long journey for you. So I don't know what you thought your expectations were when I decided to take your case, but how are you feeling now working with me and where we are today?
So when you originally reached out to me, I was a little standoffish, obviously. I'm like, because like I said, I've always had so many roadblocks. So I didn't think this was going to pan out to anything. Um, my experience with you has been beyond my wildest dreams. Amazing. You're quick. It was actually so fast that I didn't even have a chance to digest it. It was, oh, I have a phone number. Oh, she's on the phone. And I'm like, wait, what's happening? Wait, slow down. Wait, are you sure it's Anne Green? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly, in my mind, I honestly thought, either A, I was never gonna find her, or B, I assumed she was passed on. And I had accepted it, kind of, sort of. But you kind of just flew right in. Um, I'm still in shock because I think today's Thursday. It was literally a week. It was literally a week ago today that that this ball started rolling. And what made it even more, a little bit worse for me is I couldn't say anything to anyone. So I was in here all week going through an emotional roller coaster because my mother was given my phone number. Uh, she was given my phone number and hadn't called, as you know. So, I was freaking out. I'm like, she's not going to call. She's not going to call. She doesn't want to talk to me. I did something wrong. So,
But when I spoke to her, it was a whole new ballgame. She realized that this is real. She, we got her on the phone. We set a meeting place. You met her. You provided me with some pictures and some video that we're going to share. It was beautiful, and I'm glad I was able to help you. And I'm glad you were one of our recipients. And we do this every year for Mother's Day, at least two people. And there is another person that we helped, and her story will be on our Los Angeles little TV show that we do with KTLA that'll be aired later this month. And again, Lakita, thank you so much for being part of this. And we'll look forward to hearing the rest of your journey.
Thank you so much for choosing me. Um, it's been a blessing. You have been a blessing. I'm honored that, God has allowed you to put this on your heart to do this for people. So thank you as well.
You're
You,
welcome.
everyone at Birth Parent Finder. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome, and have a beautiful Mother's Day, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thanks to your
welcome.
family.